Right then everybody, welcome back to another episode. In this one, we are doing an update on Ideanomics stock. So unfortunately, we have seen this one dip ever so slightly, well actually quite significantly in the past few days. We've lost about 25+% value on the stock recently, so I think now is actually a fantastic time to give an update on what I think after the recent events. Looking at the stock price now, what would I personally do? Can this stock keep going up? What prediction would I give it for the long term? What would I do in the short term? All of that is coming up in this video. Honestly, it's absolutely action packed, so I would appreciate it massively if you could just subscribe. So right now we're going to check how many subscribers we are on. I do think that is still correct, 1,160. Obviously we're trying to get to 10,000, or realistically we're trying to get to 100,000, but we'll take it in small steps. Let's just work on getting to 2,000, okay? So if you guys could just subscribe, get us to 2,000 as soon as possible, it would be massively appreciated. On top of that, feel free to come and join us on Discord, link is in the description. Right then everybody, let's jump straight into this one. So we're going to start off actually looking at the previous long-term perspective, looking from the 6 months inwards. So we're going to start off looking from only October actually, because to be honest, none of this is really too relevant to what has happened recently. So recently we have seen Ideanomics stock being quite flat. I mean, yes, we saw quite highs and lows, but relatively it was trading between, I don't know, like $1.20 and perhaps about 86 cents. So not bad at all, between $1.20 and 80 cents, let's say. Not bad really at all, kind of flat, kind of stable, not really seeing much growth or movement at all. But you know what, from this small period here we saw a huge increase in the shares price, and now it looks like we may be leveling out at some point. And this is honestly what I did expect to happen to an extent, because when we do look at the graph, it's not really too significant, dare I say, in the sense that yes, the stock is down quite a bit. But you know what, moving in, from the 1 month perspective, we can see that it's only a small sell-off. So, the price has not really returned it to what it was at back in like the 9th of November. It's kind of finding a new level where it's happy at, in my opinion. Do I see it having leveled out right now? No, absolutely not. I definitely can see it dropping a few cents here and there, but I don't think that is necessarily a bad thing. I think what is always an interesting fact to look at, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, bear in mind I am not a financial advisor at all, but this is just my opinion. You know what? Once a stock does drop on the day, the next day is kind of crucial to seeing where we are going with this company. I think if it pulls back significantly, we are probably looking at a strong company, and if it sells off more, we are not looking to buy in right now. Personally, I can see this stock doing well, and that's just because of the fact that the stock price is actually staying where it leveled out at relatively. So we dropped all the way down to about $2.71, and you know what? We're sat at $2.75 right now. So we've actually gone up. I know it's only a small amount, but we have gone up since then rather than going down. So yeah, looking at this one for the long term and the short term, what would I do? I would not really swing trade this one, hold it for a short period of time. I just would not do it because, in my opinion, for a short term trade, we are generally speaking looking at profit fast, and I cannot see this one being one of those companies at the minute. I definitely see it being a growth company, don't get me wrong. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment, but for a short term trade, you know what? I don't think this one's volatile enough. I mean, things could change, and I will be updating you if they do, but for now, I can see it just being a slow climber and not maybe necessarily the best, short-term trade. Of course, I am not a financial advisor though, and that is just my opinion, but there we go. So yeah, looking at it for the long term, can I see this one being a buy? Yes, absolutely I can. And the reason for this is what we have to think with companies like Ideanomics and a lot of other electric car manufacturers and electric vehicle, providing companies and whatnot, basically companies in the electric sector. This market is not really taken off yet. I mean, yes, we are seeing a lot more electric vehicles on the road, and we all know what Ideanomics does, sourcing electric vehicles for companies. But you know what? In relation to petrol and especially diesel vehicles, and I do say diesel because when we look at the commercial industry, which is where this company does operate in, most of the vehicles under that sector do still fall under diesel, and people do view diesel as the worst, type of polluter. And I think for that reason, this sector does have a lot more growth than other sectors potentially, but it is not there yet because, like I said, it's absolutely different when we're looking at commercial vehicles to when we are looking at personal vehicles when it comes to electricity. I think, yes, we are making big strides, and I think some of the technology is definitely there. I can name a few brands like Workhorse and Tesla, which are working on electric vans and trucks, but it's a case of when we think about things like buses and when we think about things like trucks or lorries, as we call them in the United Kingdom, it's a case of these vehicles need to go a long way. I mean, just think about it. If a bus is doing a bus route all day, this vehicle is going to need to have an immense battery capacity, and of course that is hard to reach. But you know what? With the way that battery capacities and battery technology is moving leaps and bounds in the past few years, electric vehicles, commercial electric vehicles, I can see them being a huge success into the future. So would I invest in this company for the long term? Like I said, yes, I absolutely would. But when I say long term, I would be holding this one personally for about 10 years or so. Can I see this one growing even higher in the next year? Can I see this rally continue to go up? Yes, absolutely I can. I saw a estimate, and I think we looked at this in our last Ideanomics video. We saw an estimate for the price. It was at like $5, I think it was. And I can definitely see the price even being higher than that in the next year. Because if we think about it right now, we're at $3. According to this Google, stock results website, we can see that we are apparently on 0% change for the day. I think it was negative when we started filming the video. So you know what? We are making some steps upwards. And I think for the short term, definitely not a buy. But would I buy in at this price point? Probably I still would. I would wait a few days if possible, but I would not be too hesitant to buy in right now. But personally, my view would be to watch it for a few days and hopefully see it drop a bit, and then we can get in for a better price, and I would hold it for years to come. So that's my opinions, because a lot of people were saying about, they've been down for a long time on the stock. If you are down on the stock, I would not worry too much, because this, for me at least, is one of the ones where I'm going to, put it in my portfolio, hold it, and not look at it for about 10 years, because I don't really see any growth short term. But I think when we do start to see growth for this company, it will pick up quite rapidly. So yeah, I would definitely keep this as one on your radar, in my opinion. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do leave a like and subscribe. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye until then.